We are recording. We are streaming.
Lovely.
Hello, Internet. Welcome back to Shopify AMAs with 2H Media.
We're back again. We're back again.
Guess who's back? 2H is back.
Oh.
Tell a friend.
Is there, is that a sign of going insane when you're laughing at your own jokes, or is that...
No, it's a sign that I've got an amazing sense of humor.
Lovely.
It is a sign that we're getting old, that we're making dated Eminem references.
Dated Eminem. Listen. Does Eminem actually age?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
He's aging well. But man, he's old now.
He's old now. He's got, he's grandpa.
Yeah.
Did you know, before we really get into this, his daughter, Haley, is married or dated or mother of the child of Tony Hawk's son? So Eminem and Tony Hawk are related?
No, you're mixing that up.
I'm pretty sure.
No, it's...
Isn't it Tony Hawk?
Tony Hawk's... No, it's Tony Hawk and Kurt Cobain.
Tony Hawk, Kurt Cobain?
I believe.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit fuzzy here.
Where is that fuzzy coming from?
Yeah.
I could do that, but I hope I'm still hearable.
You hear it?
I mean, I hear it. It's coming from my mic. Because look, if I do that, it goes away.
Yeah.
But I gotta hit a sweet spot. Oh, you know why you're getting fuzzy?
You don't have your mic on.
I don't have my mic on. That makes total
I was
sense.
going to say, it's right behind you here. It's right here.
I'm a professional.
And the sock for it just fell off behind your computer there.
Alrighty. We're off to a really good start.
All right, well, never mind.
Oh, it's here. It got caught to this cable tie.
There we go. We are getting set up for this. Thank you, everyone, while Aaron gets his microphone on. I will put the...
Do we have people on Twitch yet watching this?
I think so. It says with 9 viewers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
We're 2 minutes in. I'm going to put the link into the chat for the AMA.
Yeah.
Give me a second, and then we'll give you the whole shtick. Give you the whole shtick again. The link to the AMA is right here. While Aaron's getting this set up, if you have any trouble at all hearing us or seeing us, please use the chat in Twitch. It'd be sweet. Let us know.
There's only 7 questions on the AMA so far, though, right?
Yes.
So
yeah, but I'm going to explain them a little bit.
We're going to do our best to answer all of these.
Yeah.
Other than the one that is not a real question.
Yes. If you do have an additional question, that's where you put it.
Yep.
Traditionally, we get flooded with questions because this is a more advanced topic, and I think some business owners shy away from budgeting in general. There's a little bit of a lower turnout. That's okay. We're going to get to all of it. My name is Matthew. This is Aaron. We run 2H Media. We've been a Shopify partner since 2017. We really, really, really like the Shopify ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do this style of presentation before COVID in person at the Plus offices in Waterloo, Ontario. And then COVID happened, so we took all of our education and stuff like that online. So we're really thankful to the fine folk, Jackie, and the fine folks at Shopify for allowing us to continue doing this. As always, we are trying to do an AMA the last week of every month. If you have a topic for an AMA, or you have some burning questions, I'm always happy to hear those. You can connect with Aaron and I afterwards, or you can put something in the chat, or you can reach out to Shopify. There's lots of ways to reach us. Because there's not a ton of questions, but I will explain this anyways. If there was a ton of questions, we'd get you to use the like feature in the forums, and then that way we would sort the most burning questions with the number of likes. But because there's not a crazy number of them, we're just going to go from top to bottom. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's dive right into it.
Sure.
Let's dive right into it. The first question here. That's not the first question here. That's the first question here. Organic versus paid
frequency.
Let's dive into it.
Do you want to share screen while you read the question out?
Yeah, let's do it.
You should have that working.
I should do it. Let's make sure. Sweet. Great. Organic versus paid frequency.
Yeah.
It's a good question. Have you found an optimal level frequency for organic posts per day and paid ads per month? That's a very good question. Some businesses I've worked with do high volume, up to 8 posts a day, others only 2, but gets growth once aligned with offline PR and influencer campaigns, perhaps industry rates. Thoughts? For ads, we're getting good return on our ads running longer than a month. Is it realistic to keep them running and just just change ad set/creative. I'm concerned that the meta drug and the cliff when it's turned off. Yes. Have you got good returns on Pinterest or LinkedIn? Okay, this is a great question. This is really, really dense. So I'm glad there's like 4,000 other questions because this is a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's dive into this one little bit at a time. I will say we are going to put our written answers up after this. We did an AMA yesterday.
Yep.
We haven't even started writing those.
Probably
answers.
all go up tomorrow.
Yeah. So we're going to do the. We're just going to answer it today. If you're joining us, Sydney House, if you're joining us, you're getting it now. If you're not, that's fine. So have you found an optimal level frequency for organic posts per day and paid ads per month? Let's just talk about organic posts per day. Most of the social media algorithms reward consistency and volume. The higher the volume, and you can look at to like any influencer for this, anyone that's like a content creator, the more they put out that has value, and the more consistent they are with it. So if they're doing 5 posts a day, and those 5 posts are generating a whole bunch of engagement, then great. And if they can consistently do that, those 5 posts with good engagement, the platform, regardless of platform, they're all fairly similar, they will reward that person saying, wow, you're putting a lot of effort into this, and we want to keep people on our platform, and you're doing a really good job, because their goal is to keep people on the platform to sell ads. So the optimal frequency is as much as you can do that is high value and consistent. That is your benchmark. So like you have to balance that out. You're gonna have to draw some numbers for yourself in terms of like industry standards, what good engagement looks like for your industry. You know, not the engagement in LinkedIn is not the same engagement as TikTok. But yeah, high value, consistency, and then you're probably going to have to work that into like your time budget somehow, and like the amount of planning you do. But that's like, they all work on an algorithm. The algorithms are not public, so we do not have an inside track on like the specific numbers, but that is like a general consensus across the industry. It's value and consistency. And then paid ads should be running jointly to your organic. So let's break this down. So
And just to be clear from the question, it looks like this is 2 separate questions. I originally thought they were like comparing the two.
I'm reading it like it's 2 as well.
Yeah. So like, how many paid ads should we run per month?
So
well, it depends.
Yeah, it depends. So like, paid ads are a little bit different. You'll have like ongoing ads. Like they're broken into 2 campaign types.
Yeah.
One is we're advertising our products all year round, ramping up and down with our seasonality, and it's just like great when we want to talk. We talked a little bit yesterday about wheelbarrows, so I'll just keep it going. We sell wheelbarrows all year round. The demand is probably going to be higher in the summer than it is in the winter, but like when someone searches for wheelbarrow, I want to come up at the top. Great. That is just a year-round campaign. We never stop selling wheelbarrows. There are also event-driven campaigns like, hey, we're doing something special. We're doing our spring cleanup event that's coming on May 2-4 weekend. That might only run for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Every year. And you're going to have those event-based campaigns. So number of ads is really going to be dependent on product category, seasonality, business type. There's no wrong answer there as long as it makes sense for you internally. But again, you can think of a larger retailer like Canadian Tire. I get a Canadian Tire, like a printed Canadian Tire flyer every week. And it normally comes on Thursday and Friday because people do their shopping on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It will ramp up before their key events. I'll get a special flyer with glossy paper and things before Father's Day. I'll get one for the spring cleaning. I'll get one for back to school. I'll get an additional bunch of communication at specific times. So like they're completely independent, but yeah, it comes down to time, money, products. So yeah, no wrong answers there. Yeah. Some businesses I've worked with do high volume with 8 posts a day. Others only 2. Yeah, that's
pretty normal.
That's pretty normal. Is again, which we didn't talk about yesterday, is the difference between social and media. Your social, it's all on social media, but like if it's high quality, it's probably more social. It's probably not just a come buy our stuff or like this is on sale. You can lean into education. You can lead into some comedic value. You can lead into something novel and new. But you're going to have to find that sweet spot based on what your brand values are. And that's part of the fun working in marketing. Like, you're going to have
There's a
creative.
second part to this equation, because they're saying the people that are only posting 2 are getting growth once it's aligned with their offline PR and influencer campaigns. Yeah. If you're doing a bunch of extra promotion in other channels, you don't need to go as hard on some of your online channels.
Yes.
Right? Like, if you're doing a ton of traditional PR, if you're leveraging influencers and like other people are talking about your product, that's better than you talking about your product.
100%.
So like, it's kind of a balancing act. If you've got like, how many social media posts do you need to do on a regular basis? If you've got like a really on the ball team that's capable of just like pumping out content like a machine, then ramp that number up as high as possible. But on the other side, if you've got like a really experienced business team that is good at like going out and generating word of mouth through other people's channels, whether that's traditional media outlets, influencer marketing, you name it, well, leverage that strength and go and like
big time
push volume through
like
those
that's
channels.
your SWOT. Like, go right back to your SWOT analysis, and I would be like focusing on like the strengths and weaknesses buckets. And like, again, this will be like, some people are like so creative, but they're just terrible with computers, and they just hate social media, but they're so creative. Well, they're gonna struggle. Well, other people are so less creative, but like they're complete wizards on computers, and it's just like the same balancing act. So like, you have to work to the strength. Most business owners I know are terrible at social media, but when you get them one-on-one or even one in a group, they can hold the conversation. They're interesting. They've got very valuable insights, but it's a struggle. Social media is a struggle for them. So it really depends on where you're aligned. Cool. When paying for ads on Instagram, is it better to direct customers to your website or to your Instagram? Oh, okay. This is we're fighting. That's a good question. So we're out of the. It's on topic, so I'll answer it. But we're kind of out of the question on the forum. That's cool. The question is, when paying for ads on Instagram, is it better to direct customers to your website or to your Instagram account? Okay. One, it depends on the type of campaign. If you're trying to grow your account and gain a following, maybe it's a pre-revenue. Yeah, you're going to go to your account because there's nothing to buy. Traditionally, the platforms don't like sending people off their platform. Instagram doesn't like people leaving. So if you have an ad that it's like, okay, come shop this product, typically it will go. Like, if you were to actually click on an ad, you can try this yourself. You'll scroll through, you'll see the sandwich ad or the ad for clothing or whatever it is. You'll click it. Typically it opens up their Instagram main page, and it'll be like their shop Instagram, like the Instagram shopping features, because Instagram is prioritizing that content so that you're not leaving to go to a website. You're in the app. Unfortunately, that's what the platform prefers, because it doesn't like sending people away from Instagram, because it doesn't make any money doing that. In a perfect world, we'd want them to land on your website. Yeah. We'd want them, like, the customer,
product page specifically.
Yeah. The customer is saying, hey, I want to buy that thing, and I want to remove I'm interested in that thing. I want to remove all the barriers between that click and then finding out about the thing they were interested in. Yeah. But there are some barriers to doing that, because the platform makes it so.
So, like, gun to your head, if you had to answer that question, like, give a straight answer, I'd say the majority of the time, the answer is we want to direct traffic to the website, not the page.
Yeah.
There are fringe cases where we might want to direct traffic to the page, but as a rule,
I want to do what's best for the user, not what's best for the platform. I want to do your customer told you something.
Sure, but like,
to do that,
what's best for the business too is sending them to the product page.
Yes. I want to try and drill into that, because we do the same thing. It's like, what's best for the customer, and then typically that's also what's best for the business, because those typically are aligned.
Let's move on to the rest of this question, because we didn't get to the last paragraph yet. So for ads, we're getting good returns on ads running longer than a month. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Is it realistic to keep them running and just change ad set /creative? I'm concerned about the meta drug and the cliff when they are when they're turned off.
Okay, first off, you're getting good returns on your ads running longer than a month because there's probably been enough data to refine those ads a couple of times.
Yeah.
So if you're like, we build new campaigns every day, and it will start being as bad as it can be.
Yeah.
It will be in its worst state to start. We'll have taken our best guesses. We'll have done the research, but like, it has done no refinement. So after 2 weeks of data, we go in, there'll be some keywords, there'll be some creative that is not performing at all. That gets gone. New stuff, like there's a refinement process. So the longer you run it, the better it should be. So is it realistic to keep them running and just change ad sets of creative? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like so much easier to run longer campaigns because the refinement period is longer than I've only got 6 weeks before Father's Day because there's not enough time to optimize the campaign unless you've done like 10 Father's Days before it and you can build on that.
Yeah.
So
like not only is it realistic to keep your ads running, when you say you're getting good returns on ads running longer than a month, that's what we expect. Most ads should run longer than a month.
Yep.
Running ads for like short periods of time is a really inefficient way to do it.
It's really, really hard to do a good job there because so I'm concerned about the meta drug and the cliff when turned off.
And that's like, if you're getting a lot of your traffic through ads
Yep.
and you turn your ads off, there's absolutely going to be a cliff.
Yep.
Advertising is one of those things where like it is fuel to the engine. So once your ads are up and running and driving traffic and that traffic is converting and you're making money on your ads, that's not something you do for a little bit to like build a following and then stop. That's something you do forever.
Yeah.
Because you always need to push that traffic into your website to keep generating sales.
I would love, I can't even think of it, but like, Sydney, this is just a good thought experiment for you. Think about a business that like a long-standing business that's been around for a while that doesn't need more eyeballs. They all advertise. They all want more attention. That's how they meet their goals. We need to tell people there's a new product coming out, or there's a new sale, or we've changed something, or we're more efficient, or we've planted more trees. They have to, like every restaurant, every product company, it's different in the B2B space because you're probably just not seeing that, but they're going to go to this trade shows, they're going to work their networking events, they're going to, like, they all need to do it. So it is a drug. I wouldn't even consider it a drug. It's a mandatory part of your business where I need to attract a new customer as well as keep an existing customer happy. So how do I get the new customer? I need more people aware.
The last part of this question, have you got good returns on Pinterest or LinkedIn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, jump to LinkedIn first. I'm a LinkedIn fiend. It's not a platform. So like, again, platforms are tools.
Yep.
We've talked about this in the past. Platforms are tools in a tool bag. If you are the plumber going to the job, you don't want to use every tool in your tool bag. I want to use the right tool. So based on your audience, based on your product, based on the industry, Pinterest might be a really good fit. LinkedIn might be a really good fit. They both might be a really good fit, but you have to weigh that out. So the all or nothing strategy doesn't apply. So if I'm dealing with a financial product, if I'm selling software to lawyers, if I'm selling software to accountants, where do the accountants hang out? Where do the people I'm trying to target spend their time? It could be Pinterest, it could be LinkedIn, it could be Facebook, it could be TikTok, it could be, Reddit. It could be anywhere, but that platform is the tool. So have we gotten great results on it? Yeah. One, on LinkedIn, there are a ton of features that don't require you to have a paid subscription, like a sales navigator or like a paid subscription to LinkedIn. You can use their baked in tools. Their newsletter, their blogging and newsletter functionality is incredible. Mm-hmm. Their credit system is fantastic. That's like a unique thing to LinkedIn. They've got great stuff there. They do like LinkedIn like there's tons of functionality in there that can be used. Even the search criteria around searching based on occupation, based on employment, like they're filtering think about this. The audience that is on LinkedIn has given the platform so much information about themselves. Like their whole CV's up there. So if you're looking for like therapists that have been in the field more than 5 years, it's like, holy smokes, I can, in a specific geographic region, it's great. So like as a marketer, it's a gold mine. Pinterest is a little bit different. Pinterest is a completely different tool than most other social media channels.
It's so good though.
It's so
Pinterest rocks.
Yeah, it's so good.
I can't speak too much to the advertising on Pinterest. We haven't done too much paid ads, but like as a social media platform, there's basically no reason for any major e-commerce brand to not be on Pinterest. They have a really great, I don't know if it still works with the updates, but they had a really great Google Chrome plugin where you could just like right click on one of your images and like add it to your Pinterest board really easily, and then it would link back to the product page. It's such a good tool for discoverability because people use Pinterest to plan out everything from like parties to their homes to their weddings, you name it. And when your product pages are linked on Pinterest, those linked like pins get put into people's collections and then reviewed over and over and over again. And it's a great way to get like backlinks right to your website to drive traffic that is engaged to your site. It's a really interesting platform. One of the big differences between Pinterest and other social media platforms is that typically people who are on Pinterest are planning some kind of purchase, right? People who are on social media, they're like looking at news, they're hanging out with their friends, they're like getting the latest gossip. They're not there looking to buy something. So like your ads showing up on their feed are great. You know, you're catching them in their downtime. They may click into your ad to look at something else. But on Pinterest, people are like thinking, they're dreaming about what the future looks like. They're thinking about what products they might want down the road. And so like getting into their Pinterest feed is a really great way to gain visibility because you're catching them in the right mindset to actually be interested in a product as a product.
It's just bringing up a customer journey map on Sprint Point. Pinterest allows you to capture people at the earliest possible stage. They don't even know what they want yet. They're in a planning tool. So like before another brand has gotten their claws into them, before they have made up their mind on something, before they start Googling, they are dreaming.
Now to be clear, catching people at the awareness stage is true of all social media advertising. And this was comparing it to other social media advertising, not to Google ads.
Yes.
Right? So the comparison isn't as impactful as you might think in that sense. I think what's key here, though, is that when they are just browsing Facebook, they're not looking for products.
They're not.
When they're browsing Pinterest, they are looking for
ideas, products, inspiration. Yeah.
Right? So you're more likely to get more relevant customers on a platform like Pinterest than on a platform like Facebook or Instagram.
So good question. But again, not like, I mean, if you're a B2B business selling like widgets, it might not be a good spot. So like always go back to, is my audience here? Is it relevant? Right tool for the job.
Before we get to the next question, I'd like to do a quick pulse check with our audience. Hi to everyone who's just joining us for the first time and anyone who's been back from one of our other AMAs. I'd love to make sure you guys can hear us okay. I'd love to make sure the chat's working. If you could drop a quick comment in the chat on Twitch just to let us know whether this is your first time joining us for an AMA or if you're returning from one of our previous AMAs, that would be awesome. It would really give us an idea of like who we're talking to. If you're all here, like if you've all been to one of these before, we won't like stop to re-explain how we answer the questions so many times. If you're all brand new, we'll like stop and we'll go through it again to make sure everyone's on the same page. How are you doing?
How are you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing good.
I'm doing good as well.
The snow has disappeared, which is great. Like we had that really nice warm stretch, and then a couple of days where the snow was like really coming down again. I wasn't happy about it, and it seems to have stopped now, which is exactly what I want out of these spring Canadian days.
It's brisk outside.
Well,
I'm returning. Right on.
Welcome back. Glad to have you here. And thank you for being engaged in the chat. It really makes these a lot more fun.
Yeah. The next question. Let's see if this next question. Okay, the next question. Bots. I'd love to know how we can better navigate our marketing journey when we've been inundated with bots on our site, completely skewing our visitor count as well as our conversion rate. We had a bizarre spike last month that ruined our stats. Okay. There's some good and some bad here. One, you can't really prevent too much of the bot traffic. Like bots will be bots. There is fraud out there, unfortunately. There are people doing things they shouldn't be doing. We try not to worry about those people too much because we can't really affect them. Depending on your country and region and everything like that, it might be worse than others. Mm-hmm. It's good that you are looking at this data regularly. There are some things that you can do to filter this information out, both with the analytics coming out of Shopify, plus any third-party analytics tools like Google Analytics. The goal there is to say, I'm looking for, so the problem is twofold. If the bots are coming from a local audience, so let's just say you just happen to be right down the road from a bot farm, it's not unheard of, it's unlikely, but not impossible. That's going to really skew your metrics. If the bots are all coming from a really obscure country, we can filter that data out. You shouldn't be getting any bots through any of your paid advertising channels. That would be really bad. We don't pay for bot traffic. If you are, it means the targeting on your ads is really, really, really poor, and you'd have to look at that. So your organic traffic is probably like a huge spike of organic traffic. I would just filter that out. It's going to happen. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen a couple of times a year. There's really nothing you can do. I would just be looking at where the traffic is coming from, what geographic region, filter that out of the data, go right back to getting your baseline. So if you have your baseline, work with that. It's really, really hard to anticipate, and it's really, really, so you had a bizarre spike last month. It's going to be really hard for you to figure out why. I really wouldn't spend too much time worrying about the why, because it doesn't move your business. It doesn't move the needle in your business at all. If you're getting it like consistently and it's ramping up, you might need some support to like figure out why that's happening. But most business owners can't do that on their own, unfortunately. It's really hard to answer any more of that.
Bots are tough. I mean, we've seen some big companies fight with it. There's some like stopping spammers apps you can try to use to fight with it. I was going to address the question in the chat in a minute, Matt.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's not too much we can do about the bot traffic. But there are apps you can install that help a little bit. Like you said, the main thing is to just watch your data and filter the data to try to stop those bots from impacting too much of the actual numbers that you need to look at.
Let's just talk about good traffic and bad traffic outside of bots.
Sure.
There's lots and lots of bad traffic out there that's not bot related.
Mm-hmm.
So great, we operate a Shopify store that only sells to North America. That's just what it does right now. Cool. So our numbers can look really, really good if we get a whole bunch of traffic coming from the UK or coming from Australia or coming from any other country. But we can't service those people. We have no way of capturing their information. We can't do that. So like our numbers look really good. But like, wow, we got 1 million views from the UK. They can't be customers. So I have to go back down to like being realistic, going, are the people that are viewing the website even potential customers? So they're not bots, they're real people. It's not like a crazy thing happened, a huge event in a split second. Nope, they're real people downloading stuff and doing things. No way of serving them. That is still not good traffic for us. I would much rather have that traffic coming from an audience we can serve.
Yeah.
So you should filter that out as well. And that's not fraud, that's not a bot, that's just, so that would be something that I would look at going, wow, if we're getting a ton of traffic from Australia and we're getting really good things and now I can interact with my audience more, well, if you do have plans to expand, that would be good data to have going, wow, we've got a huge following. They're following us on social, like,
yeah.
Why do they, maybe you want to talk to some of those customers. How did you find us in Australia? How did you XYZ? That's good, but not good unless you can actually do something with it.
Totally.
So not good traffic, but not bad traffic, just traffic.
We've got a question in chat. Summertime Pink says, hello from Lisbon. May I hire you guys? Great question. I've never been to Lisbon. I would love to go someday. It looks like a beautiful city.
It does.
Thank you for joining us from so far away. Can you hire us? Yeah. We are absolutely open for e-commerce work, consulting work. We do a ton to help businesses with their marketing. And I'm glad you asked about it because we do these streams once a month. We love helping out in the Shopify community. But obviously we don't do a ton to promote ourselves during these streams.
No.
And that's really not the point. We're mostly here to actually like delve right into the topics like we've been doing, answer your questions, help give you some advice, point you in the right direction as best we can. Shopify is a great platform with a great community and we really like to be involved with it. But like, yeah, at the end of the day, if I had to like put the time we spend in these AMAs on a budget somewhere, that would absolutely be for our marketing.
Yeah.
Right? So like, yeah, we're here to get involved with the community, get to know some people. If you want to hire us for some marketing work, we'd be more than happy to work with you.
Aaron,
I'm going to drop a link in chat.
Yeah.
So what this is a link to our free e-commerce strategy call. If you book a link or book a meeting through that link, you'll actually be meeting with one of us that you're seeing on camera right now. We don't farm our intake meetings out to a third party or a junior. You actually meet with us. We're owners of the company. Can you work with us? That's a good question. Can you hire us? Well, we are open for business, but we're not going to say yes or try to sell you anything until we actually know a little bit more about your business and identify an area where we can make an impact. And that's the purpose of that e-commerce strategy call. We're going to spend about 30 minutes chatting with you. We're going to get to know your business. We're going to answer your burning questions. And then ultimately, the goal of that meeting is to put a plan in place that makes sense for you. And if there's anything we can quote on, at that point, we will. So that's sort of our process, right? We use these calls as a platform just to get to know some people, share some ideas, and give back to the community. And then if you want to move forward with us, book a meeting, have a chat with us, let us get to know you. And if there's a good fit there, then we'll move forward. And that's just how we do things. While I'm self-promoting, the other thing that we are trying to draw some attention to is we actually have a Kickstarter coming up, launching April 1st. It's our first product that we're ever bringing to market for this business. We've got experience bringing products together, bringing products to market in like past industries we've worked in. Matthew and I have been developing a journal for small business owners for quite a while now. And this stemmed from a collection of free business resources that we released for digital download through our website, sprintpoint.ca. Now, why is that not our main 2h.media website? Well, because it's kind of its own entity. We use 2h Media for like active service-based support with people's marketing. And we found that there were a ton of tools that we were leveraging all the time in terms of like helping people understand their businesses better, helping people move forward in these areas. And we thought, you know what, a lot of people could probably benefit from access to these same tools. And so we released them all for free digital download under a Creative Commons license through our website, sprintpoint.ca. And those tools have been downloaded thousands of times. Business owners are using them all the time to help develop their customer personas, perform their SWOT analysis, map the customer journey, all kinds of things. But some of the feedback we got when we started releasing those free resources was that some people don't want something they can print off themselves. Some people would prefer a more premium experience. And some people would like a more guided experience as well. So we packaged a lot of that up into the Pocket Business Journal, which has some of our top resources outlined in a format that makes sense if you follow through with them in order, with a little more instruction on how to actually engage with the resources. And then each resource in the journal actually comes with a QR code that takes you to further video resources related to that journal that are hosted on our SprintPoint website. We're really excited to bring that product to market, and we're going to be kickstarting that on April 1st. So if there are areas of your business that you're still like working on refining, and you think having a guided tool to help you take the ideas in your head and put them down on paper so you can actually start to take action on them, take a look at that Kickstarter because that's going to be launching soon.
Super cool. We're very excited, but you'll hear more about it too because like it's like we have thousands and thousands of downloads on these resources. It's a Shopify store. Yep. Like you can check it out. It's
and that is the end of the promotion we're going to be doing for the bulk of this stream because really the point is not to talk about us. The point is to answer your questions.
I've got another question queued.
Excellent. Yeah, let's dive right into it.
This is a new one. We talked about this a lot yesterday. It's from Ardon Stone. Budgeting for marketing. What percentage of your gross revenue should be allocated towards your marketing budget? Okay, it's a good question. This is twofold. We have a general number that we always mention, and then we have more specifics based on your business goals. So the general number is 13%. If you want to generate $100,000 in revenue, it's going to cost you about 13% or $13,000 to generate $100,000. So great. This number can go up and down based on your industry, based on how aggressive you want to get. So if you're really trying to gobble up market share, if you're importing a product that's new and novel and you're trying to get it into as many people as possible, that could be as high as 25%. You might be taking no profit. I'm just trying to just get it out into as many hands as possible. But that should go back to your business goals. So general number 13%. We've seen it as low as 2. We've seen lots of companies that are their customer base is super refined. They've been in business 100 years. They're not interested in growing. They're just interested in maintaining. They do their normal minor stuff. But I wouldn't say spend the money unless it's actively working towards your business goals. So we use these things called leading and lagging indicators. So a leading indicator and a lagging indicator are very different. A lagging indicator is revenue. Revenue happens at the end. You've done all the work. You've done all the shipping and the building and the advertising and all the talking and the finessing. There's the leading things. The lagging things are the work. So I need to say my goal is $1 million. How many things do I have to do before I record the $1 million in revenue? So part of that budget needs to go, okay, great. What do I actually do with that money? It's going to make a big difference. So if your goals are really, really heavy, more. Goals are really, really light, less. 13 kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah.
But good question. First time chat. Oh, Brittany Elliott. I had a campaign running on Meta doing very well with a budget of $2,000 per day. I duplicated that campaign and set a budget of $5,000 and our ROAS dropped significantly and our CPM doubled. I have been going back and forth with Meta on this trying to get an explanation, but I've yet to receive a response from them that makes any sense to me. Any ideas why increasing budget would yield poorer results? Audience is broad, using advantage push up. Okay, yeah, there's lots to go through there. Okay, first off, you've done a bunch of things right, so like, good for you. I assume that when you duplicated that campaign and then set a higher budget, you turned off the initial campaign so that you don't have two campaigns competing. I hope that's what you did. We don't want to have two campaigns competing against each other. That wouldn't be good. But I assume that you paused the original 2,000 and then made the 5,000. You might be hitting saturation depending on so $5,000 a day, depending on the geographic location that you have set. That can be a lot. That could be not a lot. Like if it's all of the United States or if it's all of a country, it's not a lot. But if it's like just New York or pick the place, that could be a lot. You might be hitting that CPM, that cost per 1,000 views. You might be hitting the same people like 400 times, and that's going to drive the cost up. So look how big the audience is. If we're increasing budget, we also typically have to increase size a little bit because you were probably hitting saturation at 2.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit there that I would need to figure out in terms of like how many people were in the target market. It sounds like the $2,000 a day was profitable. That's probably why you upped it, which is great. Typically in the advertising world, we do geographic centric campaign. So if your $2,000 was like, let's just say this was California, the $2,000 a day was spent in California. Instead of just making the geographic targeting wider with the same campaign, is I would leave that campaign running. I would duplicate that campaign and change some of the creative and then target Texas. And then I'd have a $2,000 campaign running in California with California creative and the things that are already working. And I would start another campaign in Texas. Great, I'd get that one working, and then I would move to Colorado, or I'd move.
You also don't know what saturation is until you hit it.
Yes.
Right? So like going through this experiment was probably necessary to find out that $5,000 is spent on that campaign is way less efficient than $2,000 spent on that campaign. Well, that doesn't mean you shouldn't spend that extra $3,000, but like you're saying, you should probably break that out into a separate campaign. Could even be selling the same products, but targeting a different audience. And you might find that both campaigns perform better than the individual campaign does with that inflated budget.
Absolutely. On top of that, just by the nature of having two, one will outperform the other.
Yeah.
The audience in California, or again, pick two locations. One will be more in sync with the product, and your positioning will be stronger just by the nature of it. And if you have a list of 5, so 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, one of them will be the highest performing, and one of them will have the lowest performing. They all could be performing well, but there still will be a hierarchy, and there's nothing that you can do to steal data from the highest performing and bring it into the lowest performing because it's a different audience. The values in Texas or Florida are different than Ohio. They're just different. The audiences are different.
Now, I'm anticipating a frustration with our answer based on what their question was.
So we're gonna.
So they're asking. One thing they call it specifically is that the audience is broad. So can you speak to what it means to hit saturation?
Yeah.
Even though you've got a broad audience, because when I take putting myself in their shoes and going like, okay, what is happening? I know there's a huge audience for this product. Yep. I've put a bunch of money into ads. I put more money into ads. I don't feel like I should be hitting saturation because the audience is so broad. So what's happening?
So what's happening at that point is in Google, they call it ad score. I never want broad targeting. I want niche targeting. The tools in the platform allow us to do that. And when you've got a $2,000 a day budget, it allows us to create separate campaigns with separate ad sets and still spend your $2,000 a day. And that's the platform probably punishing you behind the scenes, going, the advertising is maybe a little too general, or the audience targeting is too broad, and they don't want to cheapen the experience on Meta. They're trying to hold, like, if my whole experience on the platform was really, really bad, I would go, I'm not using this platform anymore. This isn't good. I want the platform to be really, really high.
Yeah. Main takeaways from our answer, I agree with the idea that there are probably a bunch of people seeing repeat ads. And
we're offline.
We're having some kind of internet connection issue.
Weird.
I'm on a hardwired connection now, so hopefully it's just a Wi-Fi issue.
14 and people back. We're back.
Okay.
We're back. Sorry about that. There was a little bit of a blip in the matrix. The internet cut out. We're back.
Yeah.
Super odd. Brittany, we left you hanging. We answered like your whole question. It had like a whole like 5-minute spiel, which we're gonna redo.
Yeah.
But we didn't realize the stream had kicked off, so we're gonna do the whole thing again. I'm gonna read it again. It's all good. I had a campaign running on Meta doing very well with a budget of $2,000 per day. I duplicated that campaign and set a budget of $5,000, and our return on ad spend dropped significantly, and our cost per milli doubled. I had been going back and forth with Meta on this, trying to get an explanation, but I have yet to receive a response from them. Makes any sense to me.
CPM is cost per thousand.
Yeah, cost per thousand. Well, yeah.
The M is 1,000.
The M is 1,000. I call it a cost per milli, but it's. Any ideas why increasing budget would yield poor results? Audience is broad, using Advantage Plus shopping campaign. Okay. I'm going to pretend like I didn't answer this because we had a whole back and forth. But, okay. So, doubling, or more than doubling, going from $2,000 to $5,000 a day, I assume you duplicated the campaign, increased budget, turned the original $2,000 a day campaign off, and only have one campaign at 5,000 set, so we're not competing against each other. So I assume you did that, but if that could be a reason. So you're not spending $7,000 a day total with the same ad set. Cool. $5,000 a day is a very healthy spend.
Yeah.
You need to look at the size of your audience, and you might be hitting saturation, and that might mean, based on your targeting, and I know that you're saying it's broad, but geographically speaking, serving the same ad to the same customer over and over and over again worsens the experience on Meta. Meta doesn't want the person seeing the same ad 50,000 times because that's just going to be frustrating for the user, and that's why that cost will go up.
Well, and additionally, your rates are going to be lower if you're showing the same person the same ad a ton of times.
Yes. Right. Yeah, your conversion rates are going to be lower. Your costs are going to be higher. If they haven't converted after whatever your number of touch points is 7, 6, something like that, it'll go up. Typically, when we're increasing budget, we're looking at going, great, from 2 to 5. I'm going to try and get the audience more specific. I'm going to say, great, we're spending $2,000 a day in California. I want to take that $2,000 a day and also spend it in Texas.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have whatever's working in California go, great, I'm going to duplicate it, I'll pick it up, move it into Texas, spend $2,000 a day there. When Texas is working, pick that up and go over to Florida or go to Ohio, pick the market. I can't just keep going super, super broad, bigger budget.
So in a nutshell, you're getting diminishing returns on the same ad because you've increased the budget so aggressively.
Yeah.
You probably needed to do that to find out where the sweet spot is, because you can't know when you've reached saturation until you reach it. So great. If we know that a $2,000 budget for that ad is way more efficient, it probably makes more sense to drop your budget back down to $2,000 and take that remaining $3,000 and now branch off into a separate campaign with slightly different targeting.
Yeah, in a different location or a different product.
Well, I don't even want to say different locations because we don't know how these campaigns are structured, right? So I don't want to give too many specifics on what that separate targeting should look like.
Fair enough.
Right, if we saw it, we could give some instruction. But just without seeing the ads, different targeting on a separate campaign with a similar size budget to the first campaign is probably going to be way more efficient.
Yeah. Whenever we get more budget, or once we've got a market working, we're trying to develop a new, like, great, keep it working, optimize it, potentially give it more money, get it to scale, and then pick it up and move it.
Yeah.
Pick it up and move it. Pick it up. Because just in terms of like reporting, I want to see what markets are actually bringing in the most money. And if I just keep the campaign really, really general, it's going to be hard to determine. It'll be harder to determine where my customers, like, where am I winning?
Yeah.
What's my least productive market? What's my most productive market? What's working here? What's not working?
And
here?
we are assuming your targeting is broad because you're saying the audience is broad.
Yeah.
So like if the audience is broad, that audience is probably made up of a lot of smaller groups that are more niche. Your ads are probably hitting one of those groups rather than the full market, which is why you're hitting saturation, even though your audience is broad. So if we can run 2 campaigns and adjust the targeting to hit a different segment of your larger audience.
They've been targeting the entire U.S. Yeah, you need to carve that up. You need to carve. So like, yeah. So like, targeting the whole U.S. is fine to a point, and now you're going.
Yeah.
I need to go and have an individual campaign for. So like, what you've done is absolutely correct. You went, yep. We sell our products to all of the continental U.S. Cool. You've grown that out. Now I need to take some of that spend and I go. I'm going to make a California-centric campaign, and it's going to have California creative. I'm going to have a New York one. I'm going to have a Chicago one. I'm going to have a Houston. I'm going to have those separated out. So because you have that flexibility to do it now.
And if you launch, so like, you've got a $5,000 budget. You're spending $2,000 successfully targeting the entire U.S. We never want to turn off something that's working successfully until we have something even better to replace it with. So if it were me, I would look at taking that budget and taking your audience, and I would try to identify what are your 2 biggest demographics in terms of target city or target county or whatever that may look like. Can you take that extra $3,000 you were putting in and carve that out into 2 $1,500 campaigns, one for each of those major cities, running concurrently to your $2,000 campaign that targets the whole country?
Yep.
What you should see is those individually targeted campaigns, given a little bit of refinement, outperforming your primary campaign that hits everyone. And then you might be able to bump those numbers up a little bit until you hit the saturation point again. And then you go, okay, now that I know my saturation point, I need to reallocate my budget. And you can start targeting different industries as you ramp up. Or not different industries, different regions, different segments of your audience.
Yep.
And I think that'll make a big difference.
And that's going to be true of like every brand that's doing it. Like that's the way.
More niche advertising should outperform general advertising. So like you're having trouble pumping more money into this like really broad campaign. If you can run a couple of more specific campaigns, you should see the improvement. You should see big improvements to a point where those new campaigns are not just outperforming the existing campaign with the higher ad spend, but also outperforming how the existing campaign was doing before.
Completely agree. Good question.
Yeah.
Good question. On to the next one. Okay, this is going to be a really, 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 really interesting.
Oh, how do we get to that one? Because my next one was different than yours.
I think we answered one more at the top. But we can...
No, we're this one.
Oh, bring it up.
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong order. Dynamic Google Ads and custom landing pages?
Yeah, this is a great question. So I wanted to dive right into this.
Yeah, this is
very
related. So
yeah. Okay. Dynamic Google Ads and custom landing pages. I've had the desire to implement custom landing pages for our Google ad campaigns based on search terms used to find the ad. What is the best way to go about this? Is there a strong advantage to doing landing pages in this style? Also, what are your thoughts on the potential of dynamically generated ads using Google's tools? So there's really a couple of questions there. The first half of this is around landing pages in Shopify, and the second half of this is around
the AI,
Google generated ads.
It's not actually not AI. It's dynamically generated. Do very different things. So.
And so I'll speak to the first half of this question, and then I'll let Matthew weigh in on the second half because for those of you that don't know, those are the realms we live in. I do way more of our like operational and like e-commerce stuff, and Matt is the advertising expert. So whenever
we work well together though.
Yeah,
it's hand in glove.
Yeah, we get along. We're like Simon and Garfunkel.
I don't know which one I want to be in that scenario.
Oh, they famously don't get along.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's good.
So to answer the first part of this, is there, before I get into like the best way to do it, is there a strong advantage to doing landing pages in this style? Absolutely. Absolutely there is. We kind of touched on this already earlier in the stream. Anytime you're directing traffic to your website, you want to make the experience as seamless as possible, such that they click an ad and they land somewhere that feels relevant. So the worst thing you can do is just direct traffic to your homepage. What's better is directing traffic to the specific product page related to whatever ad they've clicked on. Having a landing page built out to specifically tie into your advertising copy is even more better. Like that's the best thing you can do. If the advertising pushes people into a product page and it all makes sense to them throughout the entire process and they feel like they have reached the point they wanted to reach when they clicked on the ad, then you're doing a good job. How specific you need to go on this is kind of a big question. And in terms of like what is the best way to go about it, it kind of depends. So you want to implement custom landing pages for the campaigns based on the search terms used to find the ad. I would bet that there are only a handful of search terms that are really outperforming all of your other ones. So I would question why you need a landing page that doesn't tie into those search terms. So rather than building out custom landing pages for your search terms, I would go, okay, if I'm pointing the ads to the product page, my product page should probably tie into those search terms by default. And now I don't need a secondary custom landing page because I'm just making the product page better to be in line with the ads. And this is a pretty typical part of our advertising process. When we're managing ads for a client, we have regular meetings to discuss not just ad performance, but also the implications from a web development perspective of the data that we're pulling in when we run the ads. Because if we're seeing, everyone is looking for, XYZ, your product page should really highlight XYZ.
Yeah. The strength, the durability, the speed, the ease, the longevity. Like what are they looking for? The product page needs to address and highlight those key features heavily.
Now, if for whatever reason you had a ton of like very different keywords and you needed a couple of landing pages that were different, I would still do that directly in Shopify. There's not really a lot of reason to use like a third-party landing page tool. You're already on Shopify. It's got great tools that are going to do a really good job. One thing you can do in Shopify that you may not know about is leverage the templates in the theme customizer. These are really good. They got even better with Online Store 2.0, and to this day, they're still really underutilized. The visual builder in the customizer is excellent. The way Shopify has implemented templates is slightly unintuitive because there's effectively two ways you can use templates. One is to actually build a template that's repeatable on different products, different pages, different things. In order to leverage those successfully, you have to really lean into meta fields, and it gets pretty complex. The other way to use templates in Shopify that is really effective and way easier is to just have separate templates for separate things. So, for example, if you have, no matter how big your store is, you could probably manage to build 10 custom templates for your top 10 products. So that's one template per product. And the information that you want to display on those pages can go right into the template in the customizer. And then you just assign that template to your product on the back end. That's for like the default view. You can also link people directly to a specific template of a page by URL. So for example, if you needed to build a specific ad landing page for one of your products that had specific information that you didn't want to include on the main template for that page, you could build a secondary template within the customizer specifically for that ad that applies to that product. And then by using the template URL for that product with that template, you could point your ads directly to the version of that product page that uses that template. So that's maybe getting a little more technical than the answer you were looking for when you posted the question. But if I were to try to build specific landing pages with specific copy text for specific products on Shopify, that's the way I would go about doing it. Is I would build a specific template for that landing page that includes the information that is relevant to those searches, and I would apply that to the product page through URL. So anyone who visits the site normally is just going to see the normal product page, but if you send people to that specific template URL, they're going to get that version of the experience, and then you can use that specific URL in your ad campaigns.
Yeah.
You'll need a fairly experienced Shopify developer to figure out how to do all of that. If you're technically minded, you can Google how to do all of these things. It's not super complicated. It's just kind of a niche use case that you have to know about in order to leverage it. But that's how I would go about doing it if I needed to do that. But before I did any of that, I would double check, is this information that should just be included on the default version of my product page? Because if it's what people are searching for, it's probably applicable to everyone. And then
the other half of this question.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the potential of dynamically generated ads using Google tools?
Okay, dynamically generated ads are absolutely fine as a starting point. So we'll keep it. Dynamically generated ads have there's like essentially some code in the ad that will, so like the easiest example I can give would be like city. So when people type like best food in Kitchener or in whatever, Toronto, you can target that so that Toronto is a term that can come in and out. So when they type in any city, that city is the one that shows in the ad. The dynamically generated ones are using some of like Google's, it's not AI, it's just using best recommendations. I would start, like they're very, very quick to get going because like Google's giving you a starting point. So the start is really easy. You need to refine those over time. The potentially dynamically generated ads is great, but it's not a set it and forget it. It is a set it, run it, get data in, and then go look at it and then refine it. Mm-hmm. So if you needed something like up yesterday, like we always say there's no such thing as a marketing emergency. There are like PR emergencies and things like that, but there's no like advertising emergency. But let's just say something slipped through the cracks, you need an ad up and running yesterday. You could start dynamically and then you could refine over time. But I really wouldn't, like, this is dollars, like you're spending, like your credit card is on this. So like, it's not a set it and forget it. It's a set it and go back to it in 2 weeks, like put it on your calendar and do that. It's a fine tool. They're fine tools. It's not we're inundated with AI, so it's not an AI thing where it's going to do all the work for you. Not at all. It's going to help you get started. That's it. Mm-hmm. It's going to help you get started. So like start, spend a little bit of money, get a bunch of data, learn from the data, make adjustments. So like totally fine. I would also go back to Aaron's point. The amount of Shopify stores we see where the product pages are the most plain product pages possible. Yeah. Is like, it's like 9 out of 10 stores don't have good product pages, let alone a landing page. It's like you're trying to sell something that's $100 and we have given the customer nothing. So if you've got 10 hero products or 5 hero products, those pages need to be built out. Like that is you investing in your own products. Mm-hmm. So like it has to happen. There's amazing examples. We always talk about iPhone, Allbirds. Like they're trying to sell a product and their product page is long because it covers, like it doesn't cover warranty information with a little paragraph going, oh yeah, no, it's like showing the durability of the shoe. And like, because if people are worried about warranty, they're worried about, is this going to last? Well, I'm going to show you it's going to last. And I'm going to have our product warranty information on it. So, like, you have to do both. You have to make it a good experience.
Yeah.
Were you going to show that one?
Yeah, that's the plan. So I'll bring it up in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
we talk about iPhone as an example all the time. I'm going to bring up an example we actually worked on. This is a company called Ahead Simulations. And they build medical mannequins for helping companies or helping doctors practice installing hearing aids. In short, they can do more things, and they're like developing what the technology can do. But like broadly speaking, that's the offer. They're these medical mannequins that have like detailed like ear models with like internal cameras and things, so that they can not only learn to install hearing aids, but they can also like monitor the process. They're used for like all kinds of things in education. It's a very cool piece of technology. These are a high ticket product. These are not, a quick and disposable item. And when you're selling a high ticket product, you need to share a lot of information about that product. And so the design of the product page is really important. And the way this product page works, we've got, a very simple introductory section. We've got some images about the product. You've got your add to cart button. Like this is what most product pages look like on Shopify. We could have a description in here somewhere, but that's what you typically get. Well, as we scroll down the page, now we get all of our product details, including a chart that tells us all the dimensions and like measurements of the product. We tell you exactly what the package includes. We're getting closer now to the level of detail that a strong product page should have on Shopify. As I continue scrolling down the page, this keeps going. In fact, the amount of information that we wanted to share on these product pages was dense enough that we included this secondary inline menu to, number one, help people continue to navigate the page, and number two, keep the Buy Now button on screen so that we're not losing track of that call to action as people scroll down the page and see all of the additional information available around this product. And the reason I bring up this example is because unlike the Apple example that we often go to, this has two important things I want to highlight. Number one, this is all built using the Shopify customizer. And there's a little bit of custom liquid coding that went into how some of the individual sections are built out. But in terms of having product pages that share this much information, that's something that can all be done using templates in the Shopify customizer. Online Store 2.0 is very powerful and allows us to do this in really effective ways. The second thing I wanted to share about this approach is this is not a company that is investing massive amounts of resources into crazy, complicated media assets. So you look at a lot of the more built-out Shopify, or a lot of the more built-out e-commerce websites. Like going back to our iPhone example, Apple has poured a massive amount of money into developing 3D models of their products, animations that show off the phone in interesting ways. They've created all this high-quality media content, and while that is like aspirational and a great thing to do if you have the budget for all of the extra assets, well, this is a page that shows off everything it needs to show about this product to a level of detail that makes way more sense for a high-ticket item and is just leveraging infographics, a little bit of video, and some normal product photography. So you can totally build product pages to this level of quality that are going to make everything you do more effective in terms of driving traffic to those product pages and then actually converting. So when we say most product pages that we see on Shopify aren't built out enough, it's because most product pages that we see on Shopify end after that first media gallery and add to cart button and maybe a little description if we're lucky.
Yeah. One of the, this is like I've said this a zillion times, if it's an FAQ question, if it's frequently asked, it needs to be frequently answered. It needs to be answered where the question gets asked. So if you're getting a bunch of that, it's like, oh, we've got an FAQ page. No one's going there. No one's sifting through 400 questions to find the one that they... No, put the answer to the FAQ on the product page. Will it do this? Will it do this? Put it right there for someone to actually have and build that product page out. Because if you were in store, if you had a physical brick and mortar, you would make the in-store shopping experience as good as possible because the person is either going to pick it up and like what they see and leave or not. The only difference is you get to see that person actually put it back on the shelf in store. You don't get to see the person, and then you just wonder, well, why did they come and they leave? Well, They weren't happy with what they saw. So, and it's honestly really hard to have too much. Look at in your own time, look at the iPhone and look how long that page is. It is 3 miles long, and it goes through everything possible. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's and Apple's one of the best examples in the world for most things because they spend billions of dollars in research and things. So,
do you want to read us into our next question?
Let's do it. We are The next one is this one. No, this one. We're skipping that one.
I think we're on that one now. Yep.
Okay, I will read us in. This is best AI marketing tools. Are there any savvy AI marketing tools that you can feed information about your ideal customer avatar, which can help create better marketing emails and text messages? Okay, yes, but no. So,
I mean,
it's the
easiest, simplest, cheapest thing is to just refeed the information every time, and then you can use whatever AI tool you want.
Yeah.
Because if you can develop a standard prompt that you just keep coming back to, that's going to make it way easier for the AI tool to be effective because it doesn't have to remember that information.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest places where AI tools struggle is that they're not really built out for long-term use yet. And I'm sure there are exceptions, but you could go into any of them. You could go into ChatGPT and you could say, I am selling a product that does X, targeting Y customer in Z region. I need to send an email to those customers outlining these 3 points. And the first chunk of that, where you say who you're targeting, what their demographics are, what you sell, that little bit of information, if you can boil that down to a fairly simple prompt, you can reuse that over and over and over again, and you can just keep coming back to the chatbot and saying, okay, these things being true, here's the information I'm looking for. Please help me draft a marketing email. And most of them are going to do a pretty good job out of the box. I like this question because it's actually asking about a reasonable use case.
Yeah.
Emails and text messages are a great use for AI.
Yeah.
As long as you have to go and vet the information. So once you've read it, make sure that it's true. But if you're not a super strong writer or you're a slow writer, and this will save you a ton of time, that is a great way to leverage AI technology in e-commerce. And you can just feed it the information as part of your prompt, and most of the big ones should do a good job.
Yeah. Remember, it's going to get you 90% the way there very quickly.
Yeah.
There still has to be that human element of again, vet it, make sure it's true, make sure it's right. You could also use that for hey, give me 5 ideas for emails for this customer base, and you can outsource some of the creativity there. Having it write stuff is not bad. What you do need to be careful of, and what I will mention is having it write a blog for you is far less impactful for having it write an email.
Yeah,
I would the email.
I would not be using AI to write any post for SEO purposes. We strongly suspect that eventually search engines are going to start punishing AI content.
Yeah,
it just makes sense with how much it's flooded the market. But for emails, video scripts,
subject lines,
makes a ton of sense.
Yeah,
and to be clear on how all this works as well, I would not be surprised if there are tools out there where you can punch your customer data in and then ask it a question and it will use your customer data in its response. But most companies aren't developing their own AI solutions. They are just paying for access to existing AI solutions and then repackaging them. So really what that tool is probably doing is taking the information you've punched in and then just putting that into a prompt.
And then sending it to the original AI.
And then generating it based on that prompt. And it'll resend that information as part of the prompt every time. So that process we just described, where you develop a prompt that includes your information and send that out, that's all that software is going to do. It's just not going to show you the part of the prompt that includes the information again. I have not seen it for this use case specifically, but I have seen tons of other AI tools where that's all they're doing. It's a
wrapper. Yeah, it's a pass through.
But
yeah, this is a and I will say this, an AI tool, it is a tool. It's not a catch-all. So tools are designed to do a specific thing, not do everything. I don't use a hammer when I should use a screwdriver. So I really, really like this question is, I have a specific goal. It's writing a better email. Should I use AI tools to do that? Yes. The broadly speaking terms is how is AI going to transform my business? Well, that's not a goal.
Yeah.
That's not so you've done a very good job asking a very good question. Cool. Whenever we talk about tools, it's they have to serve a purpose. What is the problem or challenge you're facing in your business? AI might be a good fit. It might not be a good fit, but it's not a blanket. So bravo for the good question.
Yeah.
And then play with it. There's no problem with going in and having it generate a whole bunch of email ideas and emails, and then you read them. Because like it will generate 50 emails for you or 10 emails for you very quickly based on your prompt, including your customer avatar. And then you can be the judge of how effective this is going to be just by reading it yourself. So like there's no cost. It's gonna take you an hour. It's gonna take you an hour if you've never done it before, and then you'll get faster over time. But like it will be a good use of your time to just play with that. But just keep in mind, tools are for specific things. Social.
Yeah, our next
Let's
question.
do that one.
Sure, I'll read us into it.
Sure.
Social media, organic posts, v paid ads. Hi, thanks for answering these questions. If you are on a small budget, where should most of your money be spent? Paying someone to create daily social media organic posts or paid ads? I believe you need both, but where should the majority be going? Where will you get the most ROI?
Good question.
Yeah.
There is an answer for this.
I think unless that person is like a social media genius with some secret sauce that I don't know about, the ads are going to outperform social media every time. If they're like, if you've got a service provider who has like a track record of getting massive viral successes on social media, then like maybe.
They're probably not affordable, but that's fine. Maybe they are. Look at that. Let's talk about social media a little bit more in depth. I'll use Instagram as an example. There are two main features of Instagram. There are engagement tools and awareness tools. Your engagement tools are stories and posts. That's going to keep your existing audience, your followers, engaged. Great. So if I've got 1,000 followers, I want to make sure they see my content. It's going to be a story or a post. Let's say I don't have 1,000 followers. Let's say I've got 50 followers. I'm going to focus on Reels. Reels are the discovery tool in Instagram. Instagram is going to put those Reels, and it's going to put them in a big bucket, and it's going to serve those to people that aren't your followers. So if you have no audience, I need to go attract more audience. If I have a huge audience, I just need to essentially monetize or engage them. So it depends on what you've already got. So there's lots of people that we know that have small budgets but huge audience. There's brands that we know that have like 200,000 Twitter followers because that's just where people hang out, and they don't need more. They just need to monetize what they've already got. So paying someone to create daily social media organic posts like stories and posts, if your audience is small, there's only so much upside. So like probably not. Ads are going to attract a new audience most of the time, every time. And if I need new customers, I need to go to new customers. Organic posts, and I use the word post because you did, a post is not really designed to attract new customers. A reel is video, and again, video is not free to create. I mean, if you're working with someone that's just really comfortable generating, stuff, like great. There are great content creators out there. I love to hate them because like they make it look so easy. It is not easy to create good content.
Yeah.
Like I wish it was. I wish we could all be good content creators. They make it look easy. It's not.
I want to read into our next question because it ties into the same thing.
Okay.
So we can kind of get both of these
Yep.
at once. Organic social posts, still worth it? I pay someone to manage the TikTok and Instagram content for my business. She makes 4 organic posts per week and shares them to both channels. We've had her doing this job for about 4 months now, and we haven't seen a big uptick in sales or followers on either channel. Is it still worth it to invest in organic content, or should we just focus on paid ads and influencers to drive awareness? So that ties in directly to what we were just talking about.
Yep.
I think diving right into this second question, then we'll make it more generic in a minute to circle back on both. I think it's worth having a conversation with the person who is managing the social media accounts about what their goals are and what service they think they're providing. And what KPIs they think are important. Because if this is a professional providing services, they probably are trying to solve a problem for your business. I often see a values mismatch between small business owners and social media managers. If you're paying this person to manage your social media posts, they probably see the value they provide as taking work off of your plate, because You need social media, but you don't want to manage it. They are probably not doing a lot to try to actually increase awareness to the campaign or to the accounts, and they are definitely not doing a lot to drive revenue for their business, because that's not what social media is good at unless you have like massive viral successes. So if you're trying to drive, like if your top goals are to drive sales, this is probably not the right way to do it. You're probably better off putting that money into paid ads, which is answering our first question. If your goal is to have maintain a healthy social media presence and stay relevant in that scene, and have active channels so that if anyone goes and looks at your social media, they see that your company is still maintaining it and still doing things, then it may or may not be worth paying someone to manage those accounts. Because if you identify that you need your social media accounts to stay active, you then have to ask the question, who's going to do that work? Is that work you want to do? Is that work you can reasonably do in-house? If not, you may need to just keep paying a third party to do it and just be realistic in the expectations of what do you expect that to do for your business. Because it might not be there to drive sales. It might be there to reassure potential customers that are finding you through other avenues that your business is real and doing hard work on the thing that you do. One of the biggest challenges in shopping online right now is finding companies to trust. There's been a big shift in Etsy stores, where Etsy used to be a great marketplace to find handmade items. Yeah. And it's known for its handmade. Well, now there are a ton of merchants on Etsy claiming that their products are handmade, but they're really just Chinese imports. And so people are having to like reverse Google image search the images on people's accounts to try to verify if those images are just coming from some Chinese manufacturer in the first place, or if it's really handmade in North America as it claims to be. Well, the more built out your online presence is, the easier it is for your customers to find out what your company's all about. So like if you're selling a product where you're claiming there's some kind of value to your product that's not inherently obvious from the images and the copy text on your website. Like if you're claiming that it's North American made, or you're claiming that it works really well in a specific use case, more social media content that speaks to those questions is probably worth having, because that is going to give a lot of confidence to your buyers that are discovering you through other channels. But that social media content isn't necessarily driving a lot of sales on its own. Yeah. So I would go back to, what are the goals? And what are you paying for the service?
So those are,
and is that worth it?
You've got two conflicting goals there. Sales and followers are two different goals. Like, I get my Home Depot flyer. I don't go and follow Home Depot.
Yeah.
I go and get my Home Depot flyer and like, oh, they got garden hoses on sale because it's springtime. Great, I'm going to go buy a garden hose because I need one. And there's no followers.
And I think they recognize that these are separate goals, because they're saying, we don't have any sales, so it's not helping there, and we're not even getting more followers, so what's it doing for our social media? And this is where I go back to like, okay, what are your goals, and what are the goals of the service provider, and is there a match there? Because if they're making 4 organic posts per week, that's not going to do anything for your followers. Just posting
no followers
will not increase the number of followers. You have to do a bunch of extra work to get those followers, and that's promotion through your other channels, that's collaborations with other influencers. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of work that goes into building a following just outside the posting. And if you're paying for 4 posts and getting your 4 posts, then for all intents and purposes, that may be totally worth it. It's just that the KPIs you're using to measure success aren't things that are impacted by those 4 posts happening every week. So like, that same service provider may have another tier where they go out and do a bunch of promotion that you're not paying for currently that would get you the results you're looking for. Or you might need a different service provider, or you might need to go a different direction, because if you're not valuing what you're getting out of those 4 posts, then it's probably not a good use of your money.
Yeah. And again, this is where it's really, really hard to outsource social media, because like, to make a post, like, people shop from people they know, like, and trust. Yep. If that a third-party social media provider, or maybe I pay someone, so that could be internal or external. You haven't really made mention of it's internal or external, but it's really going to be hard for them to say, are we in the business? Are we capturing good content? Are the videos like actually like really, really impactful, or is it just like a product video that's like That does not get me to know you better. It doesn't make me trust you more. It doesn't make me like you anymore. Like, that's just an ad.
Yeah.
That's just an ad. That's not a good way to serve an ad. That's like, why would I do that? So like,
so I have a lot of question marks about what this specific relationship is with the service provider. But like, broadly speaking, if you're looking for sales, you're better off putting money into ads than social media. If you're looking to build a brand, the social media is going to make a big difference.
Yeah. And even then, the social media, it's got to be educational, or it's got to be social. Social media. It can't just be media. It's got to be social. So is it funny? Is it educational? Is it going to be like really, really like meme worthy? Are we in like that realm of like being cutting edge? Are we trying to show off something that's really like?
And they made mention of focus on influencers. It's like, yeah, if you want to increase followers,
influencers are right for that.
Influencers are going to do that way faster than just organic posting.
Big time. Good question. But
Yeah.
like I would, like Aaron said, I'd go right back to the KPIs, get aligned with that person if they're internal or external, and say the 4 organic posts need to do this. But even if they're organic with no paid, it's like, are we using the right tool within the platform? Is it a video? I don't know how many followers you've got. So if you've got no followers, no amount of organic can help that. And then I would talk to them about like, okay, if we are trying to raise that, it's like, all right, can you run a contest? Can you run a giveaway? Can you like refer a friend for a discount? Like, there are ways to solve those problems, but the problem hasn't been identified, and that service provider's not. There's a misalignment of like what you want and what they want. So
doesn't mean that service provider is ripping you off or doing a bad job either. It just means that the values aren't aligned. Yeah, and like those are two very importantly different things. So like I would not come like raining hellfire on this service provider saying, "What are you doing? It's not achieving anything." I would go right back to like, have we ever had a conversation in this relationship about what we're actually trying to achieve, and are the expectations realistic? Because if they're making 4 posts a week and you're not having to make 4 posts a week, that's saving you a ton of time. And if that is the goal and it's not too expensive, then like,
well done.
Great. Mission accomplished. It looks like we've got one question left.
One question left. Oh my.
This is our first time getting through all of the questions posted to the board in one of these AMAs.
If you do have additional questions, you can throw them in the Twitch chat, or you can post them to the board.
Posting them to the board is better.
Board is better.
Because we will check it before we clock it out of the screen.
The last one. We haven't. The last.
It's how to use AI. Do you want to read into it?
I can. We all know AI generation is now. There are so many topics and strategies about AI marketing. However, do you have any real practice in following, but not limited following topic? Okay. AI-driven personalization, automation, predictive analysis, customer insights, customer behavior change, AI-enhanced content creation, content optimization, advanced ad targeting and optimization. The challenge is that we and the audience both know AI and the information is more transparent, but how to use AI or marketing to help business now? Okay. So there's some like good here, and there's some like bad here. It's new. So like I'm glad that you said like AI is like new, which means it's like bad at most things because it's new. There are some things that it's okay at, and there's some things that like will really, really, really become really, really impactful soon-ish. So like AI-driven personalization and automation, there are some amazing chatbots. There's some amazing chatbots that are available. You're going to need, so like if you've got a widget on your site, there are some amazing ones out there. It's not like just set it up. It's like you have to give it information. It has to come from somewhere, but like it will help you with your customer service. It will. Are they perfect? No, there's nothing perfect on this list. They're good. Yeah. So great. There are decent predictive analysis and customer insight things. I wouldn't really put that in to the AI category. Shopify's got some like decent ones like built in. Customers also viewed. Like, and that's just going to be a relationship. There's no AI there. That's just like a little algorithm going like these two products are kind of related. The seat and the seat covers. So like we can do that. The predictive analysis and customer insights, we can do that matching. I don't need a fancy AI to do that. You need a lot of data that's specific to your company to do any kind of predictive analysis. You probably don't have enough. And if you do, that's where I would be chatting with someone specific to the AI model to go like, wow, we've got 5 million data points, and we want to try and run some stuff, and you're gonna like that's not something you just run on your local laptop. You're gonna like go and do that with some help.
Yep.
So like yeah, that exists. It's not really at the stage where you're just gonna go jump into that and do it yourself. But like great, you've got 5 million data points. Go do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Customer behavior changes. Okay, that's a really interesting one. Like you could go right into ChatGPT, and you could say, hey, here's my business, here's all my customer information. What do you see changing in the next 12 months? It'll give you some ideas. It's not going to be perfect yet. Again, the AIs are not like this super being.
I'm not even totally sure what they're asking with customer. Like, are they trying to create customer behavior change through AI?
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not sure. It could mean a lot of things. The AI enhanced content creation.
That one is really interesting.
I mean,
it
depends.
I want to correct some misinformation here. There are some wicked tools. There's like Midjourney. There's AI video creators. Cool. They're going to create really cool videos. The videos aren't going to be worth it to you to actually market your products. They're going to be a cool video. It'll be like a tsunami and a boat and a thing. It'll be like really cool.
They're mostly useless right now.
They're not. Yeah, there's no practical application.
Good luck getting an image of your product.
Yeah.
Your specific product generated by AI.
Start with that. Because we have never been able to do it. We're like, oh, cool, it's going to generate some images. And like, you'll give it the JPEG. Give it the JPEG. You say, hey, create me a photo of a person holding this thing. And it's not like the person has 6 fingers. It's like the product image you gave it is changed.
Yeah.
And that's not a good representation of that. I could see that getting really, really good in 3 years. Like, ridiculously good. But right now...
I mean, some major changes to how AI models are built would have to happen for that to be true. Because like AI models, they just make predictions. They don't actually understand any of the data that they're processing. So like for an AI model to understand what your product image even is asking a lot. There's some great tests you can do. Like if you go online and you try to AI generate images of clocks, this is a big limitation. Try to AI generate an image of a clock where the hands are really close together.
Yeah.
So like
12:05.
Yeah.
And type that in. Give me a watch where the hands are at 12:05 p.m.
And
good luck.
You're going to struggle. What you're going to get back is an image of a clock where the hands are a perfect V.
10 and 2.
Because that is the most visually pleasing layout for a clock face. And so most images of clocks and watches that are posted online and which have been used to train AI models have the hands at those positions. And so the AI model has been trained to such a point where when you say generate an image of a watch or generate an image of a clock, it can generate an image of a watch or a clock. That explanation has been fed into the program at some point, that it understands what to spit out when it gets that prompt. But it doesn't know what part of the image represents the hands of the watch and the clock and what the different times respond to. AI models fail at math all the time. And you wouldn't think that makes any sense because computers are really good at math. But AI models are effectively word calculators, or in some cases image calculators if we want to get fancy. They're taking the inputs you give and generating human feeling outputs. So they struggle in a lot of ways that aren't going to get overcome anytime soon, unless there are some fundamental changes to how they're built.
The content optimization,
yeah,
you can get a little bit there. Like for like SEO, there's a little bit. Like most of the big SEO tools, SEMrush, they've got like their version of like AI built into the platform.
Yeah.
So you don't need a third tool. You just need to pay for the SEO tool in the first place.
But also, this isn't especially new or novel, right? Like, what you're really asking for that is Grammarly.
Yeah, Grammarly. Yeah, Grammarly.
Right? And like that's not a new piece of software. It's like a technology reading your text and helping you refine it has been around for a while, and it's useful enough as long as you keep an eye on the information to make sure it's accurate and make sure it's not changing the meaning of what you're trying to say too much. Like again, if you're not a strong writer, AI tools can help you refine your writing in a way that's really useful. Most of the time, if your organization is at a certain stage, it's going to be way more efficient to just hire a strong copywriter to begin with.
advanced ad targeting. There's like built-in tools for that already, like in Google.
Yeah.
Like they're like advanced ad targeting and optimization. There's like, again, I don't need to lean on a third party for that. So, okay, so you actually have a really good question at the end. Is how to use AI or marketing to help business now. Okay, great. So like if I am coming up, I'm going to use AI to help draft a lot.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I'm going to give it a prompt. I need to draft 5 video scripts that are 100 words or 30 seconds long, and here it is. I want it to generate. I want to get off the ground. I don't have time to do this from scratch anymore. Maybe I don't have a copywriter internal to the business. I'm going to go get it to generate 5, and then I'm going to tweak it, and I'm going to generate another 5, and I'm going to tweak it and generate another 5. And that can happen. Like you could have 5 really, really, really good drafts for video scripts in like 30 minutes. Like unheard. You couldn't do this to yourself.
Well, except that in our actual experience, when we have our in-house copywriter write video scripts, they are better and faster than the ones that were built through that AI process.
Yes.
Right?
So like, that might not be their advantage.
Sure.
Right? So if you don't have that advantage, it will help you. So like that's just a help. It's not a solve all. It's not a fix. It's a great. You can go and find 4 other businesses online that are doing good video work, steal their scripts, put it in, have it generate some, and then you're still going to have to massage it. We talked about text messages. It's going to help you write text messages. It's going to help you write emails. It can come up with ideas. We're playing right now. So like this is, I'm not advocating for this. We're playing right now with some AI note takers that you can have as part of like a Zoom or a Google Meet, where that will transcribe the conversation and spit out a meeting recap. There's some big up in the air items in terms of like data privacy and what the company's doing. I won't mention any of them that we're not quite ready to put our stamp on any of them, but like that can help. If that's going to save you time in terms of giving a recap, and if you're not dealing with anything sensitive, yeah, that can really, really help you increase the customer experience. Going, we just had a 30-minute chat. Here are the takeaways. Here's a recap. That's great. That saves you a ton of time. What other like big ones are out there now that we've seen?
There's not too much.
The chatbot I mentioned.
Well, and the chatbot you got to watch. Like I would never recommend a chatbot to a business without thoroughly knowing their use case.
Yep.
And without thoroughly explaining to them what the implications are of sharing that much data with a chatbot. Right? So like, how do we use AI right now? Sparingly.
Yeah, sparingly.
And this comes back to shiny object syndrome. We talk about this all the time. I was in the dollar store the other day because my kid needed some craft supplies for a school thing. And I was walking down the aisle and I saw some...
AI gel pens?
Well, no, I saw... Bear with me. I saw some... it was like some cards or some toys or something that came with an NFT.
In the dollar store.
In the dollar store. Right, and that has been the life cycle of NFTs. It went from
Board Yacht Club.
People paying tens of thousands of dollars for NFTs through like these like meme organizations to dollar store toys coming with a free NFT. So, and that's what you typically get with these like shiny object, newest, greatest things that everyone is saying is the future, and everyone is saying you have to prioritize this now. Most of the time, you're better off focusing on business fundamentals, leveraging the new technologies once they are established and proven, and in ways that make sense for your business, rather than looking and going, that's a new thing. I need to get on board with that. How do I use that in my business?
Hype.
The real question is, what problems does my business have today? And when I'm looking for solutions to those problems, maybe some of these new solutions are useful. But we shouldn't be looking for solutions in need of a problem. And when someone says, how do I use AI to improve my business? That's a solution, and they're looking for a problem that it can solve. Yeah. And that's going to be a much less effective use of your time than just focusing on the unglamorous traditional approaches that are going to help your business grow. And that can be paid ads, that can be classic social media work, that can be...
A CRM?
It could be hitting pavement and actually going out and building connections so you can build a wholesale sale channel for your business. Like there's lots of things you can do that are uncomfortable, unglamorous, traditional, that are going to be way more impactful for your business than trying to leverage AI to be successful. 6 months ago, we were talking about NFTs. I think it's longer than that now. A year ago, we were talking about NFTs.
Before that, it was crypto.
Yeah.
Before that, it was some other, like, this is the sparkly thing. Think about this. This is new. Did you buy the iPhone 1? It was new. It was new. It wasn't a BlackBerry. I remember looking at an iPhone 1 going, wow, this is the first thing with a touch screen. I'm used to my BlackBerry, and the screen was terrible. It was terrible. And then the iPhone 2 came out, and the screen was still terrible. I'm like, how the heck? Like, I like my buttons. And the screen got better and better. And sure, they're on ChatGPT 4.0 or whatever, but it's still, the screen is still terrible. I wanted to get them to the point where, like, this thing is great. Be like, great, great, great. And then I'm going to go switch from BlackBerry to an iPhone or a Samsung once they've figured out actually how this works, not because it's new.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's
like,
still only like a small part of the puzzle, though, right? Because even once they've got it working really well,
you still need the problem.
You still need the problem first, right? Like, we didn't start recommending iPads to businesses until those businesses needed cheap, fast, good
mobile
POS
payment,
system,
yeah, POS
right?
systems, yeah.
We weren't going into businesses saying, oh, you got to get your whole team iPads for productivity. No, because it's not useful for that perspective for most businesses. When they had a need and that was the right solution, then we recommended the solution. But like,
now, unfortunately, with this AI thing, we do see a lot of people in leadership positions trying to, like, get on this, and that kind of forces, like, that top-down approach of, like, we need to do this. Those leaders shouldn't be doing that. Those leaders shouldn't be, like, I don't know how many, like, AI conferences we've seen, or it's like, this is really not designed for small business yet. If the big businesses that have R&D, if you do not have an R&D budget, forget it. If you don't have a lot of money to start playing with this and being cutting edge, forget it. If you are Rogers or Bell or like, if you have big money, play in the space because you can afford to do that, and you need to do that. But for a small business, if you don't have that, you're never going to get it back. Wait, and it's not going to hurt you. It's not like, oh my goodness, we were late to the AI train. No.
Like, if you sell sunglasses and you're killing it on Shopify, you don't need to figure out how to use AI in your business. You're not going to fall behind because you weren't using it.
No.
Just keep rocking it.
Keep rocking it, yeah.
I think we're through all of our questions. I don't see anything new
in the chat. Yeah. Don't chase shiny objects. Don't do it. It's like the death of a lot of businesses. BlackBerry included. chasing a hockey team. Don't do it. Well, it's fine to end 12 minutes early. If there is no additional questions, you just double check in here. Yeah, we can.
I am double checking.
There were some great questions. This has been a great conversation. And then Brittany, look at going back to Brittany in chat. Really take a look at that where that ad spend is going because.
Yeah, because that can probably be more optimal.
Yeah,
than
definitely. At that level, you should definitely be.
Yeah. So, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. This has been great. We love hanging out with you guys.
We will be back next month. Yeah. I'm going to be chatting with our fine folks at Shopify. We'll have some new topics for next month. It will probably be the last week of April. We typically do them the last week of the month. If you have any ideas that you want us to talk about, I know that we've got a list, but if you have any ideas or recommendations, we're all ears.